Once upon a time, in a faraway and desolate land, lived a young man full of ideas and so much potence. All he prayed for was one chance to see the real world. And lucky for him, luck was on his side. One lucky day, he was discovered. When he reached the real world, oh yeah, he didn't disappoint. He worked so hard. Economies and industries were built around him. Inventions and innovations sprouted because of him. But as they say, time and nature waits for no man. It was soon way past his prime time. He was now an old man, but just like him, opportunity was looming at the doors of other people. Young men, equally zealous and hardworking, full of ideas. One in particular was a young man full of very many brilliant ideas. He worked so hard and was starting to absorb some of the clients of the old man. The old man was startled. Who is this young man taking my opportunities? Clients were stuck between the old man and the young man, for they both had ideas, but the old man's ideas were now becoming obsolete and outdated. The young man promised the future. In the middle of the confusion, one wise man had a solution. Let's make a face-off, he said. Let the young man and the old man come and pitch their ideas. Maybe then we shall be able to know who to rally behind, the old man or the young man. On the D-Day, the two men showed up in a great and adorned hall. On one side of the hall stood the old man, his name Petroleum Energy. On the other side of the hall stood the young man, his name Renewable Energy. The two men stood, eyes piercing into each other's skins. There was so much heat in the room, and the tension in the room was offset by the ring of a bell. Cling, cling! The bell went. It was time for round one. Round one was labeled Environmental Sustainability. It was indeed time for the first round. The young man was elated at the sound of the topic, Environmental Sustainability. He was sure he was ahead of the old man on this, so he took the microphone very fast and started his speech. As you know, my name is Renewable Energy. I have so much to offer the environment as compared to this old man. His ideas are crude and they're just not fit for the future. As you all know, my industry has little or no emissions to the environment. Unlike this old man, his industry has caused a lot of harm. There are so many greenhouse emissions which are leading to global warming, air and sound pollution, water pollution. This industry is causing damage to human beings and to the public health. It is bringing havoc to habitats of wildlife, plants and animals, which is leading to extinction and endangering of so many species. Line up behind me, for I am the man of the future. The old man smirked and heaved a sigh. What a show, he said. You come here and tell us about emissions? You make it seem like your industry is totally clean. Hey, don't forget, your industry too causes emissions. Renewable energy is not as clean as you might want it to seem. It causes a lot of emissions too, especially at the time of manufacture and transportation. And you went ahead and said, and you make it seem like you're totally independent. Do you know that some of the energy, the renewable energy sources, rely on non-renewable energy sources? So what's the show about? And then he continued, at this point, my heart breaks too. For this clean industry, as you call it, has done us some havoc. I'm here to address renewable energy. To be specific, hydroelectric power. Have you heard of the word dams? He asked. Dams have caused so much damage in a way of flooding of rivers. Rivers are flooded, destroying lives, agriculture, settlements, and habitats for wildlife as well. Don't tell me you don't know about the stories about floating islands at the Owen Falls Dam on Lake Victoria. So don't make it seem like it's a totally clean industry. Went on and cited, the only thing we're losing here are not the lives and the settlements. We are losing our heritage. A more recent example is the Maxon Falls Dam, which is to be constructed in the Maxon Falls. This is heritage which should be passed on down to our children. But no, because we need hydroelectric power, we're going to destroy a heritage as priceless as that one. What's this about? What are our children going to say? Are they just going to hear stories about a once magnificent Maxon Falls? This is as a result of renewable energy. So tell me, what's the importance of saying you're protecting the environment if you're going against the same environment you say you're protecting? At the peak of this heated exchange, another man interrupted. Climate change is a hoax after all. What? Everyone turned. What was this man talking about? He said there are various theories that explain climate change other than greenhouse emissions. He spoke about one of the theories, which is called the Milankovitch hypothesis. This hypothesis says that climate change changes depending on the position of the Earth relative to the Sun. This results into times of very high temperatures and very low temperatures. And in his explanation, petroleum industry had nothing to do with climate change. While everyone was still lost in thoughts, another man broke the ice. At least you're not blaming the iron catastrophe on human existence, are you? All the scientists in the room broke into laughter, for only them would understand. Well, let me help you understand. The iron catastrophe is an event which happened about 50 million years ago after the Earth had been formed. This event led to a total meltdown of the Earth. Imagine the whole Earth's surface covered in molten stone. This resulted into the diffusion of the Earth into various layers, into what we now know as the modern Earth. The solid inner core, molten outer core, the mantle, and the crust. Well, the Earth wouldn't be as we know it today without the iron catastrophe. This happened before man came into existence, and it was as a result of radioactive emissions. But again, it was a joke. The chirruping carried on. The bell was sounded. Clang, clang. It was time for round 2. Labeled Innovation Capability. It was time for the two men to speak about their achievements. The old man took to the microphone. You all know what I have done. Industries have been constructed around me. Pharmaceutical industry, textile industry, motor industry, aviation industry, petrochemical industry, plastic industry. As a matter of fact, most industries are interconnected to me. And it's true, it's hard to find one product in the whole world which is so interconnected to almost each and every single thing, save for water. Well done, the young man smirked. You have done a lot, old man, and we appreciate you. You have, yes, done amazing work. But don't forget why we are here. We're here to discuss the future. And I, Renewable Energy, host the future. Have you heard about how I'm revolutionizing the transport industry? Have you heard about electric cars, hydrogen cars? Have you heard about hyperloops? And hey, that's not it all. We're changing the whole face of the world. Have you heard about home biogas? Have you heard about the giant sunflower project? Have you heard about all these innovations that I'm working on? Old man, I am the future. This had been quite the argument. Surely, the young man was doing a lot. He was really changing the face of the world. But then, the old man had done a lot. And it was in fact fair to say that some of the inventions of the young man had been inspired by the old man. Cling, cling, cling. It was time for round 3. Labeled reliability, stability, and ease. Well, petroleum is quite something. Cars running on petroleum are quite easier to afford. Petroleum itself, quite easy to access and handle. Anyone living high up in the polar region, down in the Sahara, living high up on the mountain or down in the valley, everyone can be able to access petroleum. This cannot be said for the same thing about renewable energy. What happens if you're relying on wind energy and it's not a windy day? Or maybe not as windy. Or you live in a place where the sun takes its time to shine. Will you call off the programs or not? This is a challenge that renewable energy has. That, I think, in my opinion, petroleum energy has an advantage. But hey, the young man interrupted. We are looking for ways to make this technology sustainable. Construction of batteries that can store higher energy so that the sunnier days can compensate for the non-sunnier days. Besides, this is a young man. He still has a long way to prove himself. Maybe in the future, he'll be able to have a bigger solution to this problem. While it was clear that renewable energy has the advantage that it will never run out, but even in its ability not to ever run out because it's renewable, it is limited by geographical location. And also, most of the things that use renewable energy have a high upfront cost. So now that they are more expensive. It was time for round 4, the groundbreaking round, labeled sustainability. As a matter of fact, I think this is the reason as to why most people are congregated here, to know what the two men have in store for the future. So the bell went, and it was time for action. The young man started out. I am renewable energy, my friends. Like I said before, I am a young man. We should be enough to show you that I hold the future. My ideas are groundbreaking and that revolutionizing the world. It only makes sense for you to rally up behind me. The old man looked at him and smiled. As a matter of fact, laughed. And he said, "Oh, young man, it's true you're young and you have a bright future ahead of you. But does that mean it's time for me to go?" "I don't think so," he said. "But here are some facts." A chart was brought out. The chart you see below. This is the World Energy Supply Chart. As you can see, renewable energy contributes a small portion of the total world supply. Fossil fuels that the world is fighting so hard to get rid of, that's coal, natural gas, and oil, contribute over 50% of the world total energy. As a matter of fact, if you had the three, we're probably talking about over 70%. Does renewable energy have what it takes to substitute for these three? I don't think so. Not even in a fairy tale or a magic story would this happen. As you can see, this chart extrapolates to show us the future. It will take probably 20 years for renewable energy to be able to catch up with these three. But then again, as you can see, the curve is just always rising. What does this mean? The world energy need is just always rising. Industries are coming up all the time. This means we need so much energy to be able to compensate for this. So renewable energy doesn't have what it takes, guys. It can only do this if we give it time to build the capacity and the momentum. But then again, I cannot ensure your future, said the old man with so much pain. Everyone turned and wondered if he was sick or something. He said, "I, Petroleum Energy, have run my race. Yes, I'm not yet done, but I don't have much time." People wondered and were startled. What was the old man talking about? He said, "I do not have so much time to ensure the next 100 or more than 50 years. I have a short time left." So people wondered, is the world running out of oil reservoirs? He said, "No, we still have oil reservoirs. We just don't have reserves." Reserves? The moderator interrupted. "What do you mean reserves? What's the difference between reserves and reservoirs?" Reservoirs are accumulations of hydrocarbons in the ground. Hydrocarbons are petroleum, to say. But reserves are commercial accumulations, one that is worth bringing profit. Did you know that many years ago, oil was so easy to find? When oil had just been discovered, you could drill just hundreds of meters into the ground and you'd find petroleum. Right now, we're drilling wells which are kilometers deep. You know what that means? The deeper you go, the more money you incur and the higher the risk. It increases with price, the kind of price that people are crying about anyway. So high levels of technology have to be employed to offset some of the price. But then again, technology has a limitation. Methods called enhanced oil recovery mechanisms are being employed all the time, but they can recover just anywhere over 2/3 of the oil in the ground. All of it can never be recovered, unless, of course, very high levels of technology that we've probably not seen yet are discovered. Wait, the moderator interrupted. So you mean, old man, you hold our present economy, but you cannot ensure the future? What's this? And you, young man, you are telling us of the future and you have very brilliant ideas, but you contribute less than 30% of the total world energy supply. What is this? You, old man, are incomplete in your strategy, and so are you, young man. But from what I can see, if you took kiss and makeup, we probably have a completeness. In your incompleteness and your incompleteness, we can be able to merge and find completeness. The old man needs a few years before he runs out of reserves. And the young man needs time to be able to get momentum to supply the total world. So what's the gist of this story? The thing is, there have been so many arguments against petroleum energy. But as you see, renewable energy currently doesn't have the capacity to contribute to the total world's energy supply. It contributes a very small portion, and the fossil fuels that you hate so much are the ones that are actually sustaining the economy. So it's simple logic. It will be just a matter of time before the total energy reserves run out. How about we give petroleum its time to run its course, as renewable energy takes the time to build the capacity to take over the world? Because like it or not, we don't have petroleum for forever. It will soon run out.